Welcome. Today we have Amelia on our podcast. Amelia is a sophomore at Benedictine College. She's studying graphic design, and I love Amelia because she is so friendly, and I swear she knows everybody on campus. And it's just the best because anytime you see her, her face lights up, and like yours lights up to see her just because she is so amazing. So welcome to the podcast, Amelia.
Thank you.
All right, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, like what you're studying, things you like to do, what we need to know about Amelia.
So I am graphic design major. I actually switched my major last summer because I was education and I wanted to do something more artsy just because I grew up doing lots of creative stuff. Like that was my hobbies. And like I always thought I wanted to teach, but then I was like, well, I could minor in art, but I might as well just like do my whole major in art and see where that takes me. And then I was like, I really like designing things. Like I love Photoshop and like editing things and like photography. So like maybe graphic design would be the right path. And so I took like my first classes last semester and I loved it so much. And I'm already like really loving this semester. So I'm really glad I made that choice. And yeah, that's my major. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm the youngest of 5 children. I'm the 4th to attend Benedictine College. And yeah. Anything
Great.
else?
What brought you to Benedictine?
Probably, well, like I said, I'm the 4th to come here, so like I had been visiting over the course of like 8 years, so I just knew it so well that I was like, okay, I know I'll be comfortable here. And also like I really like the faith and community, which is what everybody says.
Right. But it's so strong.
Mm-hmm,
That's great to see.
Yes. So that definitely drew me towards it more. So.
Great. How do you bring your faith into your major? Because obviously it doesn't quite have like a direct correlation.
Yeah, that's true.
But are there elements that you still see your faith in?
I would say so. I feel like our teachers kind of give us like opportunities to like come up with our own assignment. Like they'll give us an assignment and then we can choose what we want to do it on. For example, right now we're doing like printmaking, and we have like we can choose like 3 things that are like about our lives or like that shows who we really are. And right now I'm thinking of choosing like, I don't know, like a cross, and then like scissors for cutting hair, and then like little symbols that show who I am, and so I can bring like my faith into that. And then there's other things like a picture, for example, like in my 2D design class, it can be of Mary or something. Like you can have symbolisms, like putting them into it, and I think it's fun because you're like, ooh, how can I put like little things into this to make it more have a religious meaning to it instead of just like, oh, I'll do like a flower or something pretty. So I would say, yeah, like there's a bunch of opportunities that you can bring faith into it. So
Great. And I think too with like studying something that you don't have to be studying theology to bring your faith into your career. Even the example that you set of kindness and Catholic virtues in the workplace too, and your future career and what you're studying totally like correlate to your faith, even if it's not something that you can directly see. Exactly. And I know you mentioned your scissors, so can you tell us a little bit about your little cutting hair business?
Yes. So yeah, basically I cut hair in my dorm room on campus. And how it started was, well, before I came to college, I was always like, oh, like I really like to cook, and I also am really into like hair and like cutting hair. I started cutting hair back when like COVID happened, because like my older siblings couldn't really leave, and like my dad couldn't really like go, like places were closed, so my mom taught me how to cut hair, and then it really got me into it, and I really like styling hair and stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe beauty school. And then I eventually was like, okay, I actually want to go to college and like get that experience and stuff like that. So then whenever I was meeting people, I was like, oh, if I wasn't here, I'd probably be in beauty school. And they were like, oh, like you cut hair, could you cut mine? So then I was just cutting their hair, and then word got around, and now I cut hair like 6 times a week, sometimes more. It can kind of get stressful with college, but I've got a good handle on it. and I make sure that I get all my homework done, because I'm like, okay, I can't do this if I don't have a plan throughout my day. Like, yeah.
Was it a difficult decision between beauty school and college?
Kind of, because, like, obviously college is very expensive, and I knew that beauty school, I'm not sure exactly how long it takes to get, like, your license, but I knew it would be a lot easier and quicker to, like, have my life figured out in a way. Like, I know, like, oh, I have a career, but I definitely knew, like, my grandma told me that don't, like, miss the opportunity to go to college, because you'll never regret going to at least 1 year of college. You're going to meet, like, so many awesome people. Like, you make your, like, lifelong friends in college. Don't miss that opportunity. And so I really, like, I was going back and forth. I got cold feet right before I came to college.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, it was stressful, like, the summer before. And I was like, you know what, I just have to do it. Like, my grandma says I should. Like, I'm going to go. So, yeah, and I think that if I were to have thought college wasn't for me, it probably would be at beauty school, if I had left or anything. But so far, I'm really loving it, and yeah, I don't regret it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Do you think God has taught you anything specific from that experience?
Maybe just, like, listening to people and taking their advice and stuff, and not just doing what you want when, like, your older, like, peers know more than you do. Like, they've been through it. So it's like, yeah, you should definitely listen to them, and yeah, I just go for it, I guess. But I mean, yeah, I feel like God has definitely taught me to just say yes to more things, maybe.
Yeah, and now you're, like, being able to bring both of your passions in one place.
He was kind of like, well, here, like, if you go to college, I'll still let you, like, you could still have the opportunity to do what you love, like cutting hair, but also, like, getting this experience, and then finding out you love graphic design, and making a career out of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, because now you're kind of doing two different kind of arts. Very different, but the same art realm, or being creative with it. How do you find time for all of that?
I don't know. I feel like God just makes time. It's kind of funny, actually, because if I make hair appointments, or, like, I have a schedule, like, I have it all scheduled out, like, oh, I'll do 2 haircuts today at this time, but then, like, during class I realize, oh shoot, like, I have so much homework to do. I gotta do this. I have this due at this time. Like, a haircut, like, someone will cancel. It's happened so many times where, like, I just, sometimes I'll cancel on them, like, oh, let's change the time, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I don't, I'm such, like, a people pleaser. Like, I don't want to change things. I don't want to, like, alter their schedule. So I'm just like, I gotta do it. But then they'll cancel, and I'm like, oh, like, that's such a relief. Like, I don't have to tell them or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, I feel like that was God. Like, just, I don't know, planning
watching out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially I'm definitely a people pleaser too. And it's really hard to say no when there's all these things that you want to do, especially, I don't know, I've really experienced that coming back this semester.
Yeah.
And seeing all my friends, trying to make time for everybody, because I hadn't seen them in 8 months between summer and studying abroad. And I've been so overwhelmed with schoolwork and friends and work and the podcast and my yum roll business.
Oh, yeah.
That it's just, it's been kind of crazy. And I don't know, it's important to make sure that you're making time for God, because that's who you should be pleasing first, and then, like, making time for people, but also making time for yourself. And I know that's really, I just think that's so important, and making sure your schoolwork's done on time. Have you learned any ways to kind of get away from the people pleasing?
I mean, I feel like I have over time gotten better at saying no to things. And I mean, it's kind of funny because this semester I was like, I gotta say yes to more things, because I feel like last semester me and my roommate, we would always just, like, stay in our room and just, like, it was fine, but then we're like, but we need to branch out and make more friends and stuff. But yeah, definitely I've gotten better at, obviously, like, saying no to things, because I'm like, if it's too late and I know that I have an 8 a.m. the next day, like it's easier to say no. Like freshman year, it was so hard to say no. I had such big FOMO. I would stay out super late and I would totally regret it, but then I'd do it again the next night because it's just, I mean, I'm not like mad that I did that because I definitely was able to like make friends and stuff, and like I don't know, if I didn't do that, I'm like, wait, maybe I wouldn't be friends with this person. So I feel like it all kind of happens for a reason, but definitely getting older, I'm like, okay, I need to like go to bed and like be more adultish or whatever. So
yeah, have you found any ways specifically that help with saying no to things and, you know, getting away from the pressure of always having to say yes?
I just think, there'll be more opportunities. Like, I just need to make, like, I know, more of a, I guess, a schedule with people, and say, like, if people are like, oh, let's go do homework and it's getting late, I'm just like, oh, let's plan on another time. Like, I need to be better at, like, setting a time for it, and, like, sticking to that plan to, like, hang out with them. I guess that might be a way. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really hard. Something that I've noticed has helped me is, like, planning a specific time with people, because a lot of college is, like, on a whim of, you know, all of a sudden everyone decides to go do this, so now you're all going to go do that right in the moment.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I have a tough time hanging out with people at night, because then I try and go to bed at a decent time, because I wake up really early to do everything before my 8 a.m. classes. And so trying to avoid staying out too late is like really, really difficult when you're already with a group of people.
Yeah.
And when you have a lot of friends across like friend groups, like you don't have, like you have obviously like a friend group usually, and then a bunch of people outside of that too, and making time for everybody all at once is really, really hard.
It is.
And so I've planned, like, Fridays I have a coffee date with this person, and Thursdays I have a coffee date with this person, to make sure I'm still seeing people, but it's during the day too. So now, instead of trying to make plans with them at night and then in the moment making the excuse like, well, I can't go to bed now because I'm hanging out with this person and I don't want to leave because I haven't seen them in so long. It's like I see them every single week because we have this specific day that we go to the coffee shop on campus and talk to each other for like an hour, and then we know for a fact it's already in our schedules for the next week.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I need to be more, well, it's nice because I have one friend that we just happen to be in one class together, and so now we're making it like a thing where we can get lunch after that class, and it's really nice to like, when you have someone in a class that you like routinely see, and then it's just like a routine to like go get lunch. That definitely helps with not feeling the pressure, like, oh, I should hang out with them tonight because I haven't seen them in a while. Yeah, definitely making time during the day.
Yeah, that's great. So you said that your siblings also went to Benedictine College, so I'm assuming that you grew up in a pretty Catholic family that was like, yay, Benedictine Catholic University.
Definitely.
How do you think that's like shaped your view of faith? Like, how have you grown in faith, like growing up in a Catholic family?
It's definitely, I don't know, it's kind of like I just grew up Catholic, and it just felt like more of like a routine for me to like go to Mass, even if I was just young and didn't know, like I was like, oh, we have to go to Mass, we have to do this. And I feel like growing up, I'm starting to realize like why my parents told me to do this and why it's so important to receive the sacraments and everything. And I definitely feel like my family did a good job in shaping me with that, because I've definitely seen friends growing up who were like raised similar ways, like growing up going to church and everything, but then once they hit college, they still had like the mindset of like when they were younger, like, oh, like I don't have to go, so I won't. It's kind of seemed like it was in a way like that for me when I was younger, because I didn't really understand. But now that I feel like I definitely was raised in a good Catholic family, to where when I came to college, I knew that I like should go, and I was more able to understand why. But yeah, it definitely helps with my family and everything. And being the youngest, I saw what each sibling like went through, and so far we've all like stuck to our faith, and it's been really nice because I know some families, like not everybody stays with it, and it definitely would be pretty hard to have that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we underestimate the power of like a well-formed family, because if you look at a lot of the stories of the saint, I can't think of an example actually, but there are like saints who have these incredible conversion stories, and I feel like a lot of times that's what you hear about is like, this saint overcame this, and they went from this to this, which are incredible stories. Do not get me wrong, that's not what I'm saying. But then it's important to know that like you can come from a really well-formed Catholic family and still become a saint.
Yeah, I have definitely thought about that before, because whenever I hear about testimonies or saints and stuff, it's always like, oh, like they went through this and this and then they became great. And then I'm like, well, what happens? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's definitely saints out there, but like, what happens if you come from like this? Like, there's no like big change. And I feel like sometimes like people ask me like, oh, when did you start, like, or like what was your testimony, or like people have big testimonies, and I'm like, well, I don't really have one, or like, I mean, I do, but like it's not like the saints, some of the saints where it's just like a big change and stuff. So I'm like, wait, like, what do I need to do? Like, do I need like to have that big change, you know, to like stand out like the saints did?
No, there's a lot of pressure, like not intentionally, but it's like, it almost has made me embarrassed of my testimony, because it's not like I had this like, oh, my family was like super anti-Catholic and I overcame it and converted them all. Like, that's not what my upbringing was. Like, my family was Catholic, and there are definitely ways that we could have improved. Like, we were not like the most incredible Catholics at all. And I've definitely changed a lot since my upbringing in faith, and I've noticed a growth in my faith, which is great. But that's not to say that my testimony isn't as great as the person who was like St. Paul, who, you know, was killing a bunch of Christians, and now he's a Christian, and all this stuff. Like, that story is also great, but mine is also has its own beauty to it, and that goes for everybody. Like, your testimony is not greater than the person's next to you just because it's not the same as theirs. There's different ways that God has worked in our life, and if you had the same upbringing or the same circumstances as the person next to you, you probably wouldn't be the type of Catholic or where you need to be in your faith right now for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I completely agree, because it's like, you don't want, I mean, it's hard to like, when you're telling a story, you don't want it to be like the same as everybody else, because they're not gonna listen, like showing your life story. So yeah, definitely, like each testimony, each story is different for everybody, and how they came to fully understand the faith, or not fully understand, but like have a deeper understanding of the faith. But yeah, I completely agree with that.
Right. And shoot, I lost my train of thought. Happens to me at least like once a podcast. Yeah, I'm just paying my dues. Shoot, I don't remember what I was gonna say. But how has your faith life evolved, do you think, since, like, I know that you grew up in a Catholic family, but how has it grown?
It's definitely grown with all the opportunities that we have here at Benedictine. And I know they've talked about this in other podcasts with having like adoration like 24/7 and having all those things available. For me, especially daily mass. I grew up going to, or my mom was like, oh, we gotta make it to daily mass, like at least this amount of times a week or whatever. And I always went because like I was like, oh, I have to. But here it's like, oh, I get to, or like, I don't know, it's not someone telling me to. And I feel that when I go out of like my own choice, I feel so much better about it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here for God, I'm not here for my mom in a way. So I feel like it's definitely matured because of that, like my faith life. And I don't know, it's just easy to be Catholic here because of our surroundings. And I know when I go home, I'm not constantly with all my friends and all like the people who are here who help me bring myself closer to God. So it's definitely more of a struggle, I would say. Like over Christmas break, I definitely was getting lazy and not not going to daily mass like I had wanted to and how I was last semester. So I would say it's definitely helps with being here to bring me closer to God and higher in my faith.
Yeah, how I thought about this a lot. I don't know if you've thought about this a lot, but like when we leave Benedictine, when we graduate, how will you bring the same spirit of Benedictine of going to daily mass and like having that strong community of faith? Because it is way easier to be someone who goes to daily mass or daily adoration and weekly confession and has all these devotions when you're at Benedictine because it's what you're constantly seeing. How do you think you're going to continue that outside of Benedictine?
That's a good question. Honestly, just I gotta tell myself, like, you're no longer around these people. Like, you need to put yourself out there and, like, find out when things are. Like, it depending on where you're gonna live, because I have no idea where I'm gonna live. Like, I don't know if I'm going back to St. Louis or wherever, but I definitely want to be surrounded by people who are in the same, like, I want a good faith community. And I know for my sisters, one of my sisters lives in Nashville and one lives in Denver, and once they moved there, it was definitely hard to like find their people. But now that they have like their good solid group of friends, I think that definitely helps to like, they have like, they'll go to mass and then they'll have brunch. I think that's good. So I definitely, after college, I want to find those people, hopefully. And if I have still those friends, and if no one's engaged or married, it'd be so awesome to like live with those girls and still have those friendships and the community that we had here. But I know that might not even happen. So yeah, definitely just how would you say, like, I can't really think of a good answer for that.
No, I was gonna do a follow-up question because I was thinking about that too. And I think one of the ways that the church needs to improve right now is building a community within the parish. Because in my area at least, like, I have been to all of the parishes, like, at least once. Like, I've tried to make it around to all the parishes just to see what, each one is like, and the different characteristics of the ones in my area. And while some of them do have some great formational groups or community, I think it's something that we're definitely lacking in at the moment. And I don't really know entirely how to build that up. Like, you can do donuts after mass and meet some people there, but it kind of seems like it's a lot of people who are much older than we are, and that we can't relate to. And they'll ask us how college is doing, and we'll ask them how their grandkids are doing. So it's like, it's just really different age groups. And there's nothing wrong with having friends that are significantly older than you are at mass and seeing them around and saying hi. But you also want to see people that are your age and know that there's a community of young women who are just like you out there pursuing their faith. And I don't know what that looks like, if it's maybe more Bible studies within a group. I think I was listening to maybe Pints with Aquinas. That's probably a safe bet. I listened to that one a lot. But maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I was listening to a podcast, and there was this woman on it who had basically built this entire like motherhood Bible study at her parish, and it like grew and grew and grew, where there were like women from all different parishes attending this. Like, they had hundreds of women coming to this motherhood Bible study. And obviously, I'm sure they were from a larger city that they could have so many people like that. But if there's a community like that you're bonding over something in particular, specifically drawing in the younger people, I think that could be really beneficial for our churches today.
I completely agree, because at my home parish, there's a bunch of new families, so there's a bunch of little kids, and then there's a bunch of like elderly people. There's like, there's nothing really in between, and I feel like the people who are my age, they're either like they've left the faith, or they're at college and just not around anymore. So yeah, it's definitely hard at my parish at home. But yeah, just knowing that there's other people, or like meeting people your age who are in the same boat as you, who are looking for that community and those friendships, and who are trying to strive to be a better Catholic. It's something like it motivates you, like you want to do that too. And yeah, definitely without having those people, it's a lot harder. But yeah, faith isn't always easy, so you can't always just want it to be like a simple path, because it's gonna be hard. But it's definitely nice to have those friendships and people around you who are in the same area of life.
Yeah, do you think that like the church in a way is failing young people? I don't know if failing is the right word, but like kind of discouraging young people, or is there something that we're missing for young people to draw them into the faith?
I don't know, like there's definitely, for kids, like it's youth group, and then all the clubs I feel like are like middle-aged people. I know that there are definitely at some parishes, I know they have like a young adult group, but I'm just in a part of town, or like where my city is, it's a very grown city, so there's not very many young adults. But more into the city, I have heard of young adult groups. I just haven't been able to join or see what they're like. My older siblings definitely have, and I think they're pretty great, from hearing. So I know the church, I've definitely heard of some young adult things. Like, you've probably heard of them, like Theology on Tap.
Yes.
Is that a thing where you're from?
Not a thing where I'm from, but I've been to one here.
Yeah. We have a few of those where I'm from, but I haven't been to one yet. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think about that a lot too, that I don't really know if I know what the answer is of what young people are looking for today.
Yeah. Because
we're such a, I don't know, I feel like such a different generation. Like I don't know enough about like church history in this specific aspect.
Mm-hmm.
If bringing young people into faith is something that they've always struggled with, or if this is a more recent problem considering the state of our society today and how easy it is to get information for young people, that they get information and incorrect information very early on, and then we don't have the opportunity to like allow them to experience the truth of the faith because they've already been fed information that doesn't come from good sources.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to faith and what they're learning. Like, there's been so many times I've scrolled on TikTok where I had, like, my personal TikTok, and then I created a TikTok for the Everyday Saint. Mm-hmm. And it was really interesting to me because my personal TikTok I've had for a really long time. So my For You page of recommended videos actually cater to things that I've liked and that I watch. Mm-hmm. But then when I went and I started scrolling on my new page without any, like, indication of things that I like to watch, the amount of inappropriate content that was filling up my feed, it was insane. I just kept scrolling, and I was like, what in the world are people posting? And, like, how do people even, like, post that stuff? Like, aren't there employers and people in the future going to see these things? And
that's true.
Yeah, I just know if I just, like, hopped on the app, and those are, like, the first videos I saw, and there were quite a few of them. Like, what if there is a 8-year-old boy who's just scrolling on TikTok, and now they see all these inappropriate videos because there's really no way to censor content on TikTok. Like, I know there's some things, but I don't really know if I honestly don't really know if those companies care that much.
I don't think,
about those things, because
I doubt
they're trying to get you addicted to their app.
Exactly.
And I mean, I fall guilty of this too, of being addicted to TikTok and spending too much time on it.
Yep.
But even then, if that is what is being infiltrated into the minds of young people, like, no wonder we're having a problem bringing them into the faith life. Like, this is what is forming their minds instead. And I don't know, that's not to say that social media is a bad thing entirely. Like, I have used it for a lot of good. I mean, that's how I'm promoting this podcast. And, you know, I've used it for other projects I'm working on, and it's good to update people about your lives, but there's just some really unfortunate things that transpire on those apps.
Yeah, definitely this generation, because, I mean, for my parents, they grew up without all that technology, and now that it's so easy to access things, it's definitely shown that this, I mean, honestly, like, I don't really know that much about, like, past generations, but at least from my experience, it seems like this area, or, like, this generation, people are not as, I don't know, present. Like, they aren't gonna, like, stick to their faith as well, because there's just so many other things out there that distract them and are addictive. And right now it just seems like the world is promoting, like, everybody to be different, and in order to be different, they have to, like, find a new path, or, like, and it just seems like people like, oh, be you, like, be different, and they're putting bad ideas into their heads in order to be different, and we're losing people in their faith because of that, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know if I would agree with you that they're encouraging people to be different, because there is that movement.
Yeah.
But I feel like inadvertently they're just, like, making everybody be the same.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Yeah,
it's
we've
like,
come a long
be different,
way,
but
also you have to be this way.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you can be a little different based as long as you're on this path of life. So it's interesting to think about the way that minds are being formed now, and it's kind of like, no wonder, you know, just, it's so difficult to put down your phone when it's something that your brain is being trained to have a short attention span, because you're watching, you know, less than 60-minute clips of stuff, and that's how you're being entertained. Like, even now, I struggle sitting down and watching an entire movie, because I'm like, that's way too long.
I know exactly. When I'm scrolling on TikTok, and the TikTok is like one of those that's, like, super long, I'm like, oh, I'm too impatient, and I just keep scrolling. I'm like, I used to watch YouTube videos of people, like, just talking, and, like, I never would have done that, and now I skip it all.
Yeah, or it has, like, where you can skip ahead.
Yeah, like,
and if it's something that I just want to, if it's like, do this art project with me, I'll, like, watch the start and I'll just skip to the end, because I want to see what they made, and I don't want to sit through the whole video.
Yeah.
But it's also, like, if that's how our brains are being formed, no wonder that kids are having a tough time sitting through an hour-long mass.
Exactly.
Especially when if they don't know what it is and don't know what's going on
it's,
in
like,
it.
not entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Because I feel like this world is a lot about entertaining.
I agree. Actually, it was interesting. My younger brother... So, my family, when they're back home, they don't go to mass as consistently as I usually do. Like, I'll usually go every Sunday to mass and then to daily mass too. But my family isn't quite as consistent with that. And my youngest brother recently has a friend who goes to a pretty large non-denominational church, and he went along with him one time to their service, and he was telling me about it. He was like, it was so much fun and all this stuff, and it kind of hurt my heart. I was like, Aaron, is, like, mass supposed to be fun? And he was like, no, but I should be enjoying it, or, like, something. And I was like, but the mass isn't even about you. Like, the mass is a sacrifice for God. It's not true. Like, do you think Jesus had fun dying on the cross? No. Like,
that's a good point.
Like, he did it because he loved us, not because he enjoyed doing it. And it's the same thing with the mass, where we are Catholics, meaning that we get to experience like receiving and consuming Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And no other denomination, no Protestant denomination offers that. And the Bible like so clearly explains the Eucharist that even if, you know, the Mass isn't something that you can relate to right now in your life, or you don't really understand the sacraments, like, I feel like almost the Eucharist alone is enough to convince you of, like, okay, I should go to a Catholic Mass because they offer being able to receive Jesus, like, actually encounter Jesus, not just in prayer, but physically.
Yeah, I feel like the Catholic Church isn't as, like, worldly as other denominations, because I feel like Protestants are, in a way, trying to, like, bait you, like, get you to come, like, not trap, but, like, in a way, like, get you to like it so much to keep coming back, which, I mean, I can see how it's good to, like, you want to draw people there so that, like, you can teach them, like, what you believe and stuff, but in a way, like, that's not what faith is about. I mean, it's about, like, the mystery of it, and the, like, you want to go out of love for God, not out of love for yourself. And yeah, like what you said, like, it's not about you. Like, that's definitely an eye-opener. Like, I never really thought of it in that way, but that was a very good point.
Thank you. Yeah, and I mean, like, may God bless our Protestant brothers and sisters.
Yes.
But in my eyes, I don't know that the service they have is quite as beneficial as being able to receive the Eucharist. And I've never been to a Protestant service, but I was in a youth group in high school that was just, like, non-denominational, and I went more so for the community aspect. So I got to gather a lot of how they worship and what they know about God, and something that I commend them on is knowing a lot about the Bible, because of, you know, they only look at scripture, where Catholics have scripture and tradition and the catechism and all these other resources to pull from, and but our Protestant brothers and sisters really know the Bible well, so I commend them on that. But in my eyes, there's just so much more to the Catholic Mass, and the reverence is a really big deal for me too. Like,
Definitely.
I love praise and worship time to time, but
I know what you mean.
It's not something that I want to do every single Sunday, because I feel like it's overflowing your emotions, and it's like, if you go to praise and worship and you don't feel anything, in my eyes, sometimes it just feels like you didn't do it right.
Exactly.
And that's not what faith is. Like, there's no really wrong way to pray, because any communication with God is like, communication with God, and that face to face, but, you know, in the best way that we can have that on earth, communication is really, really important. And we actually, this is not totally unrelated, but kind of unrelated. I had a reading for theology, and I found this really fascinating, where it was a typology, so the Old Testament being fulfilled in the New Testament, of communication with God. And in the Old Testament, in the Israelites, they really suffered from like going to psychics a lot and trying to know more about the future, but not turning to God to trust in the future. And then Moses comes along, and he is at the burning bush, but when God appears, he has to turn his face away. And then we flip to the New Testament, where Jesus is praying, and the, like, isolation that Jesus spends in prayer, like in the Garden of Gethsemane, and any other time that he pulls away to fast and pray, it's always like a direct line and face-to-face communication with God. Like, there's no turning away for Jesus. It's now that we have this new covenant where we have a direct line to God, and there's nothing that we need to hide or turn away from ourselves. And I just found that really interesting. I mean, that doesn't have a lot to do with what we were just talking about, but just like communication with God in general. And there's a lot of different ways to communicate with God, but I don't know if singing and dancing is always like the way that I want to go about it, like silent contemplative prayer, that structured prayer. It doesn't always have to be spontaneous. You can read prayers from saints and read, different things that have already been written by somebody. Like even the Our Father. That's something that's written by, or given to us by Jesus, and it doesn't have to be something that just like overflows from our heart out of love. Like any prayer is a sacrifice for God, and sacrifice is love.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, because I don't know, I feel like sometimes they make it out to be like a feeling. And I was just at the C conference, and they kept trying to tell us like was talking about like when, like with love, like love isn't always a feeling, it's kind of like an act. And I feel like in a way with having too much praise and worship, it's like all about the feelings and like that you experience during it, when it's not about that. It's kind of about like the act of like giving yourself to God, and just like, I don't know, just, obviously it can be very beneficial in some ways, but
right. And you need it sometimes too. God knows what you need, but if we kind of flip it and think about how God loves us, it's not like God can really feel something towards us. We don't really know for sure.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't really think that God constantly feels love towards us, especially because we sin against him all the time, and we don't always listen to what we know he's wanting us to do, and don't always follow like our obligation towards him. And so if God's love was based on feeling love towards us, we probably wouldn't exist. Like our very existence is God's act of love for us.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're existing right now is God showing that he loves us, because he could just like bloop, didn't even have to create us in the first place, but because he loves us, he created us.
Yeah.
And that's not based on like, oh, this day I was really feeling a lot of love towards this person, so then I created this person so that they'd have a friend. Like that's not necessarily what it is. It's just like a constant sacrifice and outpouring of giving us being to exist. So
exactly.
We don't always need to feel all giddy and on fire for God to know that he exists and that he's working in our lives.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
If I had a nickel for every time you said, I totally agree, or that's a really good point. Thank you. I'm just teasing you.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Do you think there's been any saints that have helped you along in your faith life?
Yes, I definitely have a few. I'm trying to think of them right now. Of course, I can't on the spot. I feel like my confirmation saint, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary. It's kind of funny because like whenever I picked her, it was just because like, oh, she was a princess and a queen and a mother, and then like had kids, and like that's all that I want is like I want to be a mother and everything. And I feel like I've definitely seen how she's helped me in my life, because she had she went through so much, and like she was always like, I feel like in the shadows of like the castle, and she was never like out there and like trying to impress anyone. It was like she didn't really care what they thought about her, and I feel like it's definitely helped me because I've read her book so many times, and I'm just like, it like shows me that it doesn't matter what other people think. Like I can just be on my own, or not on my own, but like with God. I don't have to show my relationship with God like what it seems like back then, whenever you were like a good Catholic, and like in that time it always was like the people who you would see doing this and like see doing that. Like in the book there was people who were like, why can't you be more like so and so, because she had like a bunch of companions and stuff, and she would be like, well, I don't have to be like them. Like I still like love God in this way. And like I don't know, I just feel like she's definitely showed me how to love God in more of like a childlike way. It kind of is like Saint Therese how she was always so little, or like she did things little.
Yeah, very
ways.
humble.
Yeah, humble is a good word for it. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, definitely those saints have helped me feel that.
Yeah, how do you think you experience like that humility? Like, what does that mean for you?
Just, I guess more like whenever you do like good acts for people, like you don't really expect anything in return. Like you don't expect them to know. I feel like growing up, I was always like, oh, if I do something nice for someone, like they better know it. Like I want them to see that I'm nice to them. And I don't know, I feel like I'm just like, oh, God knows. Like God knows everything that I have done, and that's what's important. And yeah, I feel like the people around me, like I want to show how much I love them, but not in like the greedy type way of like, oh, like you should do this for me. It's kind of funny. In my Christian moral life class, the professor was saying how you don't, in a relationship, it could be like in a marriage or not, but he was more directing it towards like a marriage. The first key is like no one's keeping track of like, oh, I did something good, now it's your turn. It's always just about like expecting nothing in return. You just love them so much that you just want to keep doing the good for them and not expecting anything.
Right, and that goes back to the sacrifice. I mean, that's what
exactly
that's what real love is just like being for one another and giving of yourself without expecting that back.
Yeah,
which is kind of scary when you think about it, because it's like a constant selflessness and doing things for people that you know they're not going to return. But I think once you practice it more and more, it becomes a second nature, and you find so much joy in it. And that's not why you're doing it. You're not doing it to find joy. You're doing it because we love God, and because we love God, we love the people around us too. But you're fulfilled in being able to love each other even when the other person doesn't even recognize that you're loving them. Yeah. And that's kind of like the integrity of our faith, is that people don't need to see what we're doing in order for us to be Catholic or to love God. Like, there's things that happen behind closed doors that you're doing that's really great for other people, and it doesn't even need to be recognized, because God will recognize it on the day of our judgment. And that's when you'll be rewarded for it, even if it's not an instant gratification. Yeah.
Another thing that my professor had said was the best, or I don't know exactly how you worded it, but it was just being alone in your house is like what God sees the most, kind of, or like whenever you're like praying alone, and it's not for anyone else but like just for him and stuff, which is like very important. I feel like there's something else I was gonna say.
Yeah, is there a way that you connect with God best in those moments, like a way of prayer?
I've definitely, I know this doesn't apply for everybody, but I started journaling last year a little bit, and it definitely helps me like get everything out, and I don't know, just having it like written down and in like a prayer to God, and then I can go back and like look on what I used to say, and it's kind of funny to be like, oh wait, that's like how I was praying back then, but now I'm praying like this. So I feel like that's definitely helped a lot. And I always, whenever I was younger, I would always just like ask God for things, and then I would feel so guilty because I was like, I'm not like thanking him. So I've been trying, like, whenever I start my prayers, I'm like trying to find things to like thank him for, because everything I was given in that day was from him. Like, everything's a gift. So I would like start out by thanking him, and then I just no, like my mom used to always tell me, like, just talk to God. Just, he wants you to just tell him about your day, like, whether it was good or bad, just like everything. He just wants you to tell him and like talk to him. So I try to just like go through my day and then tell him like what I'm struggling with and what I need help on and like what strengths I need. So little things like that, I guess.
Yeah, I started doing a little bit of journaling like once a week, and that's really helped me, especially when you have so many thoughts going on in your mind. To like write them down and work through them, I think really helps. And something I love about journaling is like looking back and seeing, this is what I was praying for, and now that prayer has come to fruition. Like, that is really, really neat to see. Be like, wow, like, I forgot that I was even praying for that. But look at what's happening in my life right now. Like, that's...
It's such a good eye-opener, because you don't realize that. Because whenever you're praying for something and you're like, oh, God's not giving it to me, you don't really notice how he actually did answer that prayer. And, journaling, you can look back and be like, wait, he answered that.
Yeah. And without even realizing.
Yeah, it's a good way to realize things like that.
Yeah, how often do you journal?
Well, I bring it every time I go to adoration, but a lot of times, like, I'm just not, like I can't write anything down right now. But yeah, I would say maybe about once or twice a week. Okay, I try to get some stuff out.
Yeah, nice. Is there any specific prompts that you follow with that, or is it just kind of like talking about what's going on in your life?
It literally I just start, it's kind of like I'm writing a letter in a way. Yeah. Like, I used to put like, dear God, and then it started to just be like, hey. Like, what's up? Yeah. Honestly, yeah, it's just like a letter for me.
Yeah, that's really beautiful too, though. It's like, I love handwritten notes. Like, how fun is it to receive a letter in the mail? Like, it's like the best feeling. You're like, oh my gosh, someone thought of me and sent me mail, and they wrote it down and wanted me to know about this, this, and this.
Yeah. It makes it seem more meaningful to God in a way.
Yeah.
In a small way.
Yeah. Like, obviously there's nothing, I don't know if there's really in God's mind any way of prayer that's the best besides the mass. Besides the mass. Yes. It's a little different, but I think in a way it helps us process things, and like you said, like, a letter in general to anybody is more meaningful than sending them a text message. Yeah. So if that form of prayer like works for you really, really well, like it's kind of fun to think of writing letters to God and knowing that, like, even if you don't know it in the moment, like, he's writing to you back all the time. Like,
he's like kind of writing you like through the lines, like when you go back and then you see like, oh wait, that's what I was missing, or something like that.
Yeah. Or there were like times last year when I started journaling, like my freshman year, where I'd go back and look at specific days, and it was like the 26th of like, I always dated my journal entries, and like the 26th of October, all of a sudden something that I wrote down the 26th of October came to fruition in the 26th of February. Like, there were like little things like that it was like, that's really parallels cool between the two, that it's like, oh, like God's working in that situation. And when I wrote that on October 26th, I didn't know that I'd look back on it in February 26th and be like, oh my gosh, that prayer was answered. Like,
that's so cool. I really like that.
Yeah, there's just been like little things like that. And when, you know, you're just like praying to yourself, like, that's great too. I do, like, obviously do all of it. You can't. But you don't get to see that all the time either. Yeah. And it's just kind of fun to write it down when you can.
It's a visual, like, I'm a very visual learner, a visual person, and
All right, well, I think that's all I have for you today, Amelia.
Yeah, I know. I was hearing the bells. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, already 3:00. The bells. They always go off during a podcast. Like, I hear them every single time, and I'm like, that's so funny. I love the bells. The bells are like one of my favorite parts of campus. I miss them so much. Anytime I heard a bell in Italy, I was like, Benedictine.
That's funny.
It was great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. It was great to have you.
Yeah.
All right.